In addition to vectors, matrices, arrays, lists, and data frames, R also has another data structure known as factors. Factors are just data objects used to categorize the data and store it as levels. To create a factor, we use this function, factor. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. But first, let's create a vector of colors, right? And we call it color underscore vector. So I'll compile that, execute that again. You can see we've created that. This is a vector of made up of colors, right? So to create a factor, we just pass it as an argument here, okay, into the factor function. And we can store it in another object called color. So we run that and we can see here, it says we have blue, green, red, and white. Okay, so how many levels do we have? We can use this function here, n levels, and tells us it returns an integer value 4. We can see here blue, green, red, white. So we just categorize this where we have duplication. That one is categorized as a factor. Okay, we cannot just reduce that into one. Okay, let's look at another example. So we have this string of values, right? We want to store it as X. So let's go ahead and do that. So remove that. We can see we have two levels, married and single. Okay, so if we want to return an integer value, we use the n levels, two levels. We can exactly see which of these two levels they are. Okay, another example here, just to demonstrate that order matters. So let's say we had a column or a string of values, low, high, medium, high, right? So we convert this into a factor, right? We pass this value inside that, and we store this as maybe food. Okay, could be food, maybe high in calories, right? So we use the levels here. You can see we have high, low, medium. Suppose we wanted to reorganize this, and that order really matters here. Okay, so to do this, how do we modify that? So we could basically do this. So we could say factor. Okay, and then we call our object food. All right, then we specify the levels of how we want to rearrange this. So we want to rearrange this into low. Let's say we say low. We could say medium, and also so that we can see in ascending order. Okay, then let's store this into the same object, food. Okay, all right, so we do that. I'll just add another parenthesis there and another parenthesis there, so that when I run this, it just appears on the console. The output appears in the console. So you can see now the order really matters. So we've changed the order from high, low, medium to low, medium, high. Okay, so that basically just how to change, especially if the order really matters, we can do that. So how do we access the components of a factor? Using the square bracket. So suppose we want to access the third element of our X object. Remember, X had single, married, single. We want to just extract that. It's the same thing. We use the square bracket. You can see here, we've extracted that. Similarly here, we want to extract the second and the fourth element. So that will be married and single, right? So we just concatenate the two, put in a single quotation, single bracket, and we have that. And each time it gives us that it came from these two levels. Okay. Another thing you can do here is summary. We can see it just gives us a summary of how many low we have, how many elements we have under low, medium, and high. Okay. So another question here. So if we wanted to modify, so from this X, let me just clear the console here. So from our X here, let's say we wanted to replace this with maybe divorced, right? How are we gonna do this? Can we replace this using this? Let's try. So if I run that, I'll get an error. Okay, so probably we might not be able to do that. So there's a workaround around this. So what we can do here is, first of all, we need to add. So we need to really add. So we need to add the levels. So what we can do here we can say levels, right? So we need to add this divorced into the, the levels in X, right? So remember X here had single, married and single. So we need to add that. So to do that, we just simply do that and we can add it. So remember the existing levels we have is X, but now we want to add divorced. Okay, so we're just gonna do that, divorced, like that. Then what you're saying here, so add this. So inside here we have married, single, and then we want to add this, and then we want to replace the contents of this. So we do that now. We can see now if we say levels X, right, you can see we have divorce. So now if we go here and want to change the second element of X, right? So let me run this again for X here. All right, come back here. So if I now go back and change that, we should be able to have it. Let's see what just happened here. No, we've actually replaced that. So I'll just go back here and rerun this again. So I rerun that and add that. So, but now if we go here, yep, so now it works. So we do X here, you can see we replace the second element with divorced. Okay. Now that concludes our segment on data structures in R.